Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I am honored to be with these stars here. All of you, I consider my sisters. The stories are similar to what we faced in New Jersey. My rise, if you will, in New Jersey legislature has not come easily. I am a woman of color. When I entered the playing field to step up to the stage to run for a state office versus a local school board race or a council race or a county race, they said, why you? You've never held office before. I competed against a round of men who were elected officials, had funding, but my background and training, part of it included working as a contract lobbyist in the halls of Trenton, New Jersey. So I knew how to walk those halls. I knew how to make those phone calls. When people ask how you doing, I said, hey, I'm doing great, but I gotta raise some money. So that was always my tagline. And how can you help? You can't be afraid to have those discussions. I also pride myself on logic, reasonability. Some laws just don't make sense. As a behavioral health care professional for over 15 years and being trapped in a regulatory environment that limited access to people receiving care at their most desperate time, not only for mental health, but also for addiction treatment and services, folks didn't understand that there was a need for that. There was regulation that could actually impact that. And every issue that I hold near and dear to my heart, I knew that being a player on a political stage would help me to achieve those objectives of making access attainable to the least of those. So I served with a conscience, I served with a spirit of service. And when people ask how in your first term did you have the most bills signed into law, not only in the House, but also in the Senate, it's knowing your powers, and I call them superpowers. My staff, we all have superhero egos. So I am Wonder Woman. So I'm wearing my bangles today. But you need to have a persona so you know when you walk through those doors, one, where the skeletons are buried, two, what your purpose is. We serve for 2 years, so you only have a year to really set your legislative agenda and to work that agenda. And for me, I also hail from an urban community. While healthcare is important to me, we were at the end, but yet the middle of a Great Depression recession. I couldn't really talk about healthcare without talking about jobs. I couldn't talk about jobs without talking about broken families. I couldn't talk about broken families without talking about an education system that was failing. I couldn't talk about an education system that was failing when I couldn't talk about food being on the tables. So it was all of these social issues that should not have been part of the conversation, but we were failing as a government, as a state, in addressing those issues. And today I still pride myself on making sure whenever I'm in the halls of Trenton, whatever committee I'm in, whenever we're on the floor, whenever I'm at the table, I'm at a leadership table where I am the only woman of 5 men. And the boys are good, they're good. But sometimes we have to sit just as we do as mothers, as women, as sisters, and just say, well, did you think about how this might play out? Let me just, And they said, I didn't consider that. And case in point, we have a tiered system insurance industry that has come into New Jersey, competition, fine, but they left out entire communities for healthcare. So now that we have Obamacare, you have an insurance card, you may have Medicaid, there's a hospital that's not a network. And you know what those payments will look like. So when you talk about accessibility, you're being trapped on the back end. Tip wages for workers, our tip workers earn $2.13. That was one of my first bills when I came into the House. $2.13, one of my first bills. People had no idea. So when we were talking about raising the minimum wage, this sector was excluded, and that's 71% of women working as servers, holding 2 and 3 jobs. So when I talked about the other issues, all of those things play into it. So I just try to make sure whatever I do it with a servant spirit. I do it from a foundation of standing on solid ground with information on statistics and people and a reality of the impact. Thank you.